went to join a Japanese conglomerate and became CEO of that conglomerate. So it's not an unusual career path. I think increasingly, because of the complexity of sourcing, because of the complexity that we face today, and the turbulence in the world, and the uncertainties, the many risks associated with getting our products out into the market, first sourcing them and getting them out in the market, that supply chain professionals are increasingly being looked at as candidates for senior executive positions. When I became president for Starbucks Asia Pacific, I was very fortunate. One of the two most outstanding regional leaders on my team was the head of supply chain. He had the most challenging role, but he too consistently delivered executional excellence in his regular work as well as in all special or ad hoc projects. About 4 months ago, I got a call from an executive search company asking if I could recommend somebody to become CEO for a chain of 3,000 restaurants that a private equity firm has just acquired. And I did not hesitate to give the name of this gentleman. He got the job, not because I recommended him, but because he deserved it. So there was a time when supply chain professionals were treated like stepchildren in organizations. The marketing and product or advertising professionals were the favorite children. I think things are changing, but not fast enough. Consumers still did not see. You know, we traveled around Europe. My husband and I were in Europe and went to 6 countries in the last month. And you can see all this huge equipment, you know, this load lifting equipment, thousands of containers. You see all the hardware. And you go into the stores and you see all the same global brands and a lot of products that converge into one store from different parts of the world. What the consumer does not see is the work that you guys do to make sure that those products are sourced and that they get delivered on time, at the right price, in the right quantity, and at a profit for the company. They don't see the work, 24/7 work that the IT professionals are putting in. They don't see the heavy lifting that those people that work in warehouses literally do. So they are invisible. You go into a party and present your card, you're a supply chain professional, and oh yeah, a marketing director comes in and says, oh yeah, I saw your product and I saw your advertising. So they do all the visible things. You do a lot of the invisible stuff. But I think you are the unsung heroes. I truly believe that, based on experience too. And the consumer still will not thank you for the work that you do. But sitting on the board of global corporations today, I can assure you that things are changing. There is not an investment decision, and there are hundreds of millions of dollars, or an acquisition decision, or a divestment decision, or a merger decision. These are things that are discussed at board level that does not talk about the supply chain implication of these decisions. So you can see that there is increasing visibility for the function. And there's an increasing appreciation for what it can do and the competitive advantage that it can provide to a company when they do have a properly functioning supply chain network. So that is creating a lot more visibility. I just came from Finland. There was a decision around closing the plant in Norway and increasing capacity in the United States. And the question then was, how do we supply our customers in Europe? So all these decisions are supply chain decisions. So don't sell yourself short. Don't apologize for what you do. Be proud of what you do, because it is very, very important. It moves the world. Today we have chief supply chain officers sitting on the top executive team side by side with chief financial officers and chief marketing officers. And they yield tremendous influence. That Levi's, a product, will not go to market unless it is blessed by the head of supply chain. There is growing appreciation. The World Economic Forum has even created a task force to address the threats and risks to supply chain operations that could potentially disrupt world trade, and looking into ways to make it more agile, resilient, in the face of escalating risks brought about by erratic capital flows, developments in emerging markets. What was once low-source country, low-cost country, like in China, for example, and just a 10% increase in dock workers in Hong Kong, and the emergence of Indonesia, when it was, and Pakistan, not Pakistan, Sri Lanka as well. When you think of Hungary, you were in Budapest, and a lot of sourcing was done from that country before. All of the dynamics are changing, and they're changing very, very rapidly. The supply chain decisions that are being made in corporations need to be weighed down, to weigh all of this, the pros and cons, and they're not easy decisions. Global warming, terrorism, oil shortage, exchange rate volatility. You need to have professionals to be managing all of these risks. I am going to close by describing to you, by going to add value. I will add value by describing to you what characteristics are needed for supply chain leaders. And I was asked to put together a PowerPoint. But you know what they say about power, that power corrupts, well, PowerPoint corrupts my eyesight. I go through decks of PowerPoints every time I go into board meetings, which is twice a month, and I have an aversion for PowerPoints. But I did put together a few slides, and I'd like just to go through them very, very quickly. World-class supply chain management. Why did I use this as a picture? Because to me it is a metaphor of how different partners working together, from the same musical score, produce great melody. I was at Brent, my granddaughter goes to Brent, and they had this concert that brings together jazz bands and orchestra, and they were playing the national anthem. And I just felt that these were children from different parts of the world making music together. And to me, that was just a wonderful metaphor of what is possible and how a supply chain network that works together towards the same goal, aligned with strategy, can achieve. Hence that. So I just thought that, I don't know if you've come across this, the logistics, the science of an art of logistics dates back to 3,000 years ago. If you've read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, if anybody of you have read that book, it's my favorite book on strategy, by the way. And I was talking about logistics as early as 2000. I don't know who M. Cox is, but he says that every great leader, there is a logistician. And my experience proved that to be true. Well, not about being a great leader, as much as, in my work and in the relative successes that I have achieved in my life, there was always a great supply chain leader that was helping me. But then, you look at the last one, that it says, if my campaign fails, they are the first ones I will slay. So you get all the responsibility, and you also get all the blame, which is really sad. But like I said, that is also changing. I was looking for a graphic, and I took pictures, and they're not, it's my fault, these are very bad pictures. I think this was in St. Petersburg, and that one was in Belgium. That I was talking to you earlier about all these global products converging, but the consumer only see the product on the packaging and the labeling, and they don't see the work went behind bringing those products to them. And we see all these machines and heavy equipment as well, and hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars are invested in it. And I saw this. And what's wrong with this picture is that it's just a jumble of words. So I had to go back to the internet and look for another to download a free image and superimpose it. That's my next slide. Because it is people that are the center of executional excellence. Your IT systems, your modern equipment, your robots, they're enablers. But they don't make the decisions. You do. They don't execute. They don't do the work. It's the people. It's the people in warehouses and distribution centers, in your IT departments, the drivers of lorries, the people who bring containers around. They're the ones that make things happen for you. And they are the face. I'm always so happy when I get the UPS parcel or somebody from DHL delivering, and somebody with a smile on his face and bringing this to me, because I see the person, and I see the person behind all the work that's happening to move goods around. Let's not forget that. So it was for me a real tragedy that that accident in Bangladesh happened. It should never happen. And we, you, as supply chain professionals, should make sure that it never happens, especially in our country. But in any other country, that if we see signs of this kind of weaknesses in the system, that we should flag them, that we should take responsibility to make sure that we do treat the people that we work with dignity and respect. Lessons from working with supply chain. That it is important that whatever we do is aligned with the strategy of the company. I'm sure you all know that. But there has got to be sponsorship from the top. I am sad to say that when as a board director, you interview a lot of CEO candidates, and you find out that they can talk about their products and they can talk about a lot of things, but they cannot talk about their go-to-market processes. So if they don't know their go-to-market processes and they don't understand their supply chain processes, how are they going to lead their organizations? So they get a ding from me when they cannot answer questions in supply chain. One of them came to me and said, you know, you ask the hardest questions. No, I asked questions in supply chain and you didn't answer them. It has to be consumer-driven. It is about that consumer. All of us, yes, we may not be working with the consumer face-to-face, but the product is going to a consumer, and we need to keep that in mind with every function that we do in this place. But 15 years ago, I worked with Alan Braithwaite, and I don't know if you know him, but he's one of the gurus of supply chain. And we debated about forecasting versus lead times. I took the position that yes, you can have the best forecasting tools, and you can use the best algorithms, but they never arrive. I mean, you need a crystal ball to really get your forecast right. And that it is more important to get your lead time shorter than to get your forecast right. It is important to try to get your forecast as close as possible to actuals, but really, if you control your lead times and tighten it so that you bring it closer to market and to the time you need it, that is probably more important than trying to work on your forecast. Total cost of ownership versus factory unit prices. I always, laugh in one of the companies that I work with. They talk about ex-factory prices, but they forget that they're staffing their offices with all these vice presidents, and they're all expatriates, being paid, being housed, being paid a lot of money. So that and of course they are not in the costs, they are in expenses. But if you add up all of those, costs really go up. And here we are squeezing our suppliers for lower prices, but we're not looking at the other elements of the supply chain, where we could actually bring down the total cost. Technologies and labor, so we'll talk about that. Strategic partnerships and alliances. If we are to really bring them as early as possible into the ideation process, we have to trust them. We have to have trusting relationships with them. And they have to trust us. We have to have open communications and transparency with them. And we have to make sure that they too make money. I mean, it's not a partnership if we're the only ones making money and they don't. Sourcing is nomadic. I mean, it moves. But like I said before, it's low cost today and lower low cost tomorrow. And therefore the importance of trying to break it down into more manageable chunks rather than just working with these huge organizations is important in order to be nimble.